different goals can change what and how you track lineage. And calling back, I think it was the very first one we did this year of this series, we recommend no matter what you're trying to do with data governance or data catalog or data intelligence, whatever you want to call this sort of practice of understanding your data and curating your data, no matter what you want to do, it's important to understand what your goals are, what problems you're trying to solve. And lineage is really critical to that. And really there's sort of two key points that I would say that people try to track lineage, and they do have different actions that you should take. So the first is people who are very focused on tracking lineage for security, access, and audit purposes, right? And so depending on what type of data you have, sometimes we do have people who say, well, we need to track lineage for the auditing purposes, to understand where this data comes from and where it's going. And so that's, again, the types of things that you want to track are source to target kind of system or at best entity mapping and understanding for those systems, who has access to those systems and how do people gain access to that system. So you want to know, like, oh, this is going to some data warehouse that's kind of open to the world, or this is coming from a system that was open. Those types of things matter if you're sort of moving through security or access scopes with your data that's flowing. So that's one purpose, and we'll talk about the types of things that you might want to track for those things, versus the second purpose, which is understanding the data and transparency. So, if you're looking at data in a data warehouse and people are saying, I don't understand this information, like it doesn't seem like we have all the data, or it seems like the calculations are wrong. There's a whole bunch of points of processing that can affect why the data is the way that it is in a particular instance. So was it transformed? Was it filtered? Was it copied in some way that changes the meaning or the calculations or the details of it? So that's an important thing to understand, is many of us have processes that are moving data from one system to another that do kind of behind the scenes black box manipulations, and trying to create transparency around that to better understand and trust the data that we have at any point along the process is incredibly useful. Now you might be needing to do both of these, right? But again, there's sort of a different level of details, as we'll talk about, that you want to track for each one of these purposes. I will say, if you're focusing entirely on the audit, if that's the main reason you're doing it, you can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief, because it's less effort to understand, where things are coming from and where they're going, without understanding every possible bit of transformation or processing that happens on that data. And again, because this can be more work, it's better to, don't kill yourself documenting all this stuff if that's not actually the purpose of it. I will say they get more value out of doing this, but it's also more